Do, 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 do,
No,
do.
no, no. I didn't share it, so I'm gonna have to find it.
Oh, well, I hadn't shared Jack.
Yeah, well, hey, we can't all share, but I will share. Guess what? I
What's
got good
that?
news.
What's that? Tell me.
My oldest child is going to be getting married as of this evening.
Oh, well, you're going to be a father, soon to be father in law.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Well, I mean, no. Look, I mean, my oldest daughter, Sydney, is she got proposed to by her boyfriend of quite a few years,
mm-hmm.
and she accepted, and they're getting married, and it's not a shotgun wedding.
Oh,
She
okay.
did. They've done it the right way, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah. Cool. Congratulations are in order. I can't seem to get my boys married off. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. You beat me to the punch, Mr. Lowry.
Well,
Congratulations are in order.
when it happens, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, what are we going to talk? First of all, I guess we are live. I didn't even check. I heard one of your dings, I think, and we got about 20 something people. So I hope some comments will start flooding in here in a few minutes to let us know we're actually here.
Yeah, I normally I'm Johnny on the spot, seeing that little Twitter thing pop up and tell me that we're live, but I didn't see it this evening. But maybe it's because of the content that we're going to talk about and the things. I don't know. I mean, I hear four wheelers are going for cheap in Haugton, and I hear real estate in Benton. I mean, it's so bad in Benton with the real estate; they're having to put signs on the sidewalks, blocking the
Yeah.
sidewalks, to make people to stop. That's
What
how
is,
bad real estate is in Benton.
I mean, we get Bossier City kind of calmed down, sort of, except for the whole arts thing this afternoon. And I guess we'll be talking about that here shortly. But now it seems like Benton and Haunton are popping off, and whatever.
Yeah, but look, Bossier City said, "Oh no, hell no, we're not going to be outdone. We're gonna put the Bossier Arts Council and the Bloom houses up.
Yeah,
You ain't Halton, you ain't going to outdo us. What do you think?"
so I got to get educated on this Bloom House deal because you keep saying that, and I'm not that familiar with the Bloom House. So that's going to be a little learning lesson for me here in a few minutes.
Well, I will admit I'm not as sharp on it as what I should be, but we're going to talk about it, and I think maybe everybody by the time we get through talking about it will be a little more educated on the subject. Because the thing is this could be in your backyard,
Yeah.
next door to you, and I mean, I don't have an opinion formed on it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll be interested to see what the majority of people think
Hmm.
in regards to this.
All
It
right.
was this might have actually been as good or better of a debate than the Bossier Arts Council thing, and it was pretty damn juicy.
Oh, really? Well, this is going to be interesting because honestly, I've only watched bits and pieces of the city council meeting. Just had a lot of stuff going this week, and for the past 2 days, I've been blasting or catching the bass on Caddo Lake. They are on fire right now. So I have not paid attention to politics because, it's time to bass fish. But I will be learning this evening. All right. So why don't we I'm not going to do the countdown. Let's just do the little intro deal so that gives everybody like 20, 30 seconds to share it out and grab some popcorn and a drink. So you better make the popcorn pretty quick. And then we'll come back into it and start jabbering. What do you say, Mr. Lowry?
Let's do it. Sounds like a plan.
All right, we will be right back very quickly.
Well, that was pretty quick, Rex.
Yeah, that was pretty quick, and there was just no video. I don't know what the heck happened there. Let me try that one more time. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. We're back. It worked that time. See, when I change things and then I forget that I changed things, I have to remember to hit little buttons and yeah. Just so many things going on.
Little buttons. Well, you do have a lot going on your end when you're running these shows. But look, people think on all this stuff. I don't know. People think all this stuff is just easy, and everybody's just like, "Oh, I'm going to go start me a blog, or I'm going to start me a narrow cast like what we're doing, or I'm going to start a podcast." And there's actually a lot goes into it, and the amount of time I got to tell you, since we've been doing this, there's a lot of y'all out there. I'm envious of you that you don't start doing this unless you have a little bit of a bug in you for it, right?
Yeah,
And
like an addiction to it.
Yeah, but there's those people, the ones that I'm envious of, or that can just walk through life and none of the stuff that like what we talk about on the show affects them. They can just go through life oblivious, and it don't phase them. I'm jealous of those folks. I'm jealous of them.
Well, and we've talked about it many, many times on the show, but you and I and a lot of the folks that watch the show are tuned in to politics. And so we just assume, dangerous word there, we just assume that everyone else is as engaged or engrossed in all of this stuff as we are. And, that's just not the case many times. Most people, they want to go get their job done during the day, come home, go to dinner, cook dinner, play with the kids, I don't know, whatever, and all that. And they're not surrounding themselves with, political punditry, if I can say it. Anyway, but we do, and we just kind of assume that everybody pays attention to this stuff. We just assume that people listen to us jibber jabber every now Thursday night.
Yeah, well, we advocate for people getting involved in politics, and I don't know. I think are getting involved in their community and what's taking place, and I think like the Bossier City Council meeting is a good. And I can't read that; it's so small on my screen. But you're smiling, so it must have been good.
I've got a good retort for that. So let me put it back up there. So Horatio Brookins Jr. says, parking lots okay, no BAC or Bloomhouse. Well, maybe, Mr. Horatio, you're on to something there. Maybe they're going to wipe out the Bloom houses and the Bossier Arts Council so they can put more parking lots in there and have another controversy. And,
Look, Horatio, I'm sorry to break the news to you, but parking lots, that's so old school. It's four-wheelers these days.
Yeah. The city
council are the end thing now.
The city council has almost won that deal. They just keep holding on long enough, not saying anything, and hoping that all the cricket chirping will get so loud that we'll just ignore it.
Yeah, and that's my point. I had a long discussion with somebody, and they were like, trying to bounce a million things off of me at one time. And what do you think? What do you think? And I was like, look, I think you should do what you think. I think you should go get involved. I think you should go ask questions. I think you shouldn't call me trying to tell me all of this and plead the case and have me to go do it. I think you should go do it. That's what I think. And I get a lot of those calls, and I'm sure you get some of those calls too. And that's what it's about, is activism and getting people involved in the deals,
Look, I do this all the time. People will call me, well, y'all should talk about this, and y'all need to do this, and you need to do that. Well, okay, go get a microphone or just use your phone, start your own podcast, and you do it. Look, it's one of the reasons I like to share out Chris Redford's content up there. Not that I always agree with Redford, but hey, he puts out a lot of content, and he is not afraid to state his opinion in it. Where's everybody else?
I love it. I love it.
We've long advocated for other folks to jump in on the bandwagon and the stuff that we're doing and the stuff that John Settle does and that old Howell guy used to do at Bossier now. And anyway, and the two guys down there on the sidewalk, I guess they ran out of sidewalk, but they started doing, hey, get your phone out, get to yapping, people. We welcome it. We'll even be glad to share our little secrets about how we do stuff to make it a little more efficient if you would like to do that. Anyway.
Yep. We've done that. So have we attacked Iran yet? Anybody in the comments? Can y'all tell me? I mean, maybe y'all don't know. I mean, I think we got like all of our ships like piled up around Iran. Or am I the only person?
We're attacking Iran again?
No, we've got everything over there to attack Iran, but I haven't seen a recent update. I mean, surely somebody watching this show besides me pays attention and whether or not we're fixing to be attacking Iran. I guess I'm the only one. Okay.
I can tell you that one of my sons who is in the Army will be over in one of those sand-filled countries soon to be deployed. He asked them if they had any lakes over there or ponds that he could fish, and they were like, "You're going to the desert, boy." He was, and they asked him, "Well, do y'all have some hobbies or what kinds of things do you like?" And Jeremy dutifully raised his hand and said, "Hey, they got any lakes or ponds over there?" And they're like, "If you ask that again." But anyway, so all right.
Well, where do
we want to get started tonight? I don't know. I'm at a loss.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll take the light duty stuff, and we'll start off in Benton, and then we'll go to Haugton, or we can go to Bossier City, whatever piques the interest of folks. I mean, I think they all equally have some good juicy stuff. Maybe Benton's on a little bit of the light side. Chris Redford, he posts a lot, and I think you issued a challenge out to Redford and the alderman up there because they were kind of going at it about maybe moderating a debate. Is that right?
Absolutely. So I shared this out, I think, on the Facebook page. But look, Redford put up a post, and he and Manning are going tit for tat, back and forth. And so they're like, "Hey, let's do a mano live deal and challenge them to a debate." And I was like, "Yeah, we'll get the popcorn and the beer ready here. We'll share it out on the page, or we'll host it if you want to do it, or Well, cricket's on that too. I hope they do. That would be interesting.
They're scared, both of them?
I don't know. I mean, it was all this hubbub, and now crickets chirping. I don't know what it is with these crickets around here.
I don't know. Well, that ain't the only thing going on in Benton. I mean, Chris got a little peeved about some real estate signs today, or yesterday, or last week, or a few days ago. Yeah, well, apparently there was a downtown Benton, to sell the building and put them right square in the middle of the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk. So, Chris obviously jogs a whole lot. I'm suspecting about 3 a.m. in the morning or 4 a.m. whenever he does his jogging or whatever, he went strolling around the sidewalk and had to jet out in the streets to go around the signs. And he lost his crap. He started getting pissed off after his post.
I just have to say, first world problems, right? To have to interrupt your morning jog or run to run around signs, but it does sound interesting. All right, so
look, I gotta say, I can see his point, and this is the point to which I can see. It would be one thing, because it was kind of said that, well, this is the kind of the first time it really happened, and just sorry, we'll move them, blah blah blah. But apparently, this is like a regular thing for this building that's been for sale. It's not apparently the first time. It's happened countless multiple times. And I mean, one time, yeah, I can see, okay, but multiple times? If I'm Chris, I got to support Chris on this one. I think I'd be getting pissed off.
Eh,
And I had a real estate friend of mine say to me, he's like, "Oh, come on, man. What, they got to be able to advertise the property." And I'm like, "Well, damn, what do you want people doing? Jogging in the street? I mean, put the sign on the side of the building. You can see it if it's plastered. It's like, oh, so you're saying we need to drill holes in the side of the building?" I was like, you don't have to. You can figure out some way to secure it to the side of a building without drilling a damn hole in the side of the building. But uh, some people think it's appropriate to block the sidewalk. I don't know. What do y'all think?
well, I mean, yeah, I guess he's kind of got a point. I mean, I don't know. And they don't need to block the sidewalk, that's for sure. They do need to find a way to, if there's not enough room between the building and the sidewalk, yeah, find a different way. I would agree. Somebody could, some some nice, sweet little old lady could be strolling along there and not paying attention and trip over those signs, and then you've killed an old lady, all in the name of having a real estate sign out there. How would y'all feel about that? Everybody would lose their minds. It was bad enough in Shreveport just over the Mardi Gras parade. Can you imagine some sweet little old lady strolling along the sidewalk in Benton and tripping over a real estate sign?
No, it ain't tripping over the real estate sign. To get past the real estate sign, you almost got to step out into the street.
Well,
We're
even
talking about
worse.
we're talking about getting hit by a car. We're not talking about tripping.
There you go. Even worse, the little old lady moves out of the way to get out of the way of the sign, steps out in the street, and boom, gets run over by a car, and then you're responsible for the death of a sweet little old lady. Ah,
Yeah, and what if you're in a wheelchair or something like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
I mean, good grief.
All right, so one more thing about Redford too. Of course, he's posting a lot of videos of the Benton town meetings. Lots of disrespecting. I that's one word I honestly can't stand. I've been disrespected. Anyway, but he is posting a lot of content on that, and so we're appreciative of that because that saves us from having to go to the meetings. We can kind of keep up. But anyway, so yeah, Benton has still got some issues going on up there, and we are just kind of watching to see how bad it gets.
Well, they got different issues than Haugton, and Haugton. I didn't see this one coming. I didn't have this on my bingo card, but Haugton apparently. If any of y'all are out there in the market for a four wheeler, Halton is the place to go.
Well, wait a
Who, who,
minute. Wait a minute.
who?
Wait a minute.
Okay, okay.
Now, I gotta say, you have to be careful if you're apparently buying a official four wheeler or ATV from Haunton because it's one thing to buy a four wheeler or buy an ATV. It's another one to buy one that's shall we say a little warm to the touch, maybe.
Well, so what you're saying is that you should be cautious and just make sure that if you're going to get a four wheeler, you get it from law enforcement out there, right?
Well, you would normally think so, but as our show graphic kind of represents, I think that guy's being chased by the state police.
Well, he's going the wrong direction if he's being chased by them, or either they're going the wrong direction.
They're trying to pin him in. They got the state police have the helicopter out after him, chasing a hot police officer that's on an ATV. I wonder why. I wonder how hot his engine is.
Well, I don't know. I think that's probably the $1 million question is well, is the ATV hot or is it not hot? I mean, I'm sure that engine, it looks like that one's probably hot because it's running and rolling down the road. But I don't know. Halton's got an interesting situation out there, but I think it's been resolved though.
Oh,
Allegedly, it's been resolved.
well,
There's a lot of allegedlys in this whole story.
yeah. So let's start out with how we got involved, or this got on our radar allegedly. Not allegedly. This is how it got on our radar. We were sent a proton mail, so I'm going to read it, and we want to say that we're not accusing the Houghton chief of police of stealing a four wheeler, but this was what was sent to us, and then we're going to show what KTBS is actually reporting because there was some political stuff that went on today with this. So anyway, It says, this was a Proton mail sent to us. It says, to whom it may concern, including the citizens of Haugton. We respectfully submit this statement to bring attention to serious concerns regarding alleged misconduct within the town of Haugton's leadership, specifically involving the current chief of police. It has come to our attention, again, not ours, whoever sent this Proton mail, that the chief of police is reportedly under investigation by the Louisiana State Police. And I want to stop there and say the chief of police of Haugton or the mayor of Haugton are both more than welcome to come on the show, and we will be glad to discuss this further, but we'll get to that. While the outcome of any investigation remains to be determined, the community deserves transparency and accountability throughout this process. The matter in question involves a stolen ATV that was reportedly recovered in 2024. The following concerns have been raised. The recovered ATV was allegedly stored behind the police department for approximately 1 year. Okay. No formal police report was completed documenting the recovery. No documented investigative efforts were made to identify or contact the rightful owner. Getting interesting here. Standard law enforcement procedure requires thorough documentation, evidence tracking for recovered stolen property. The absence of official reporting raises significant concerns, blah, 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 blah. Further allegations indicate that the chief of police traded the ATV to a local ATV mechanic in exchange for mechanical services performed on his personal ATV. If accurate, this would represent a serious conflict of interest and potential misuse of public or victim property, and I'm sure a whole host of other things legally as well. Additionally, there are concerns that attempts have been made to conceal these actions from public knowledge. Well, I mean, if allegedly he stored it behind the police department, I'd say that's trying to conceal it. Transparency is fundamental to maintaining public trust, particularly within law enforcement leadership. And second part to that. Let's see here. The town mayor and board of aldermen bear responsibility for oversight and ensuring accountability. Although the police chief is an elected official, no public office is exempt. Blah 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 blah. A basic review of Louisiana law concerning stolen property raises the following or underscores the seriousness of the allegations. At this time, this person who wrote the Proton mails is seeking clear, direct answers to the following questions. Why was no formal report completed regarding the recovered ATV? Why was no documented effort made to locate the rightful owner? Under what authority was the ATV transferred or traded? And why has a special town meeting been scheduled for yesterday, February 18th, 2026? All right. So that's the email that was sent to us. Now, let me pull up the cut for KTBS and go ahead, Mr. Lowry.
Well, what I can tell you is after that we had received this, I called to confirm that in fact the Haugton leadership did in fact have a special meeting. And there was nothing to be gleaned publicly about it because they went into executive session. But interestingly, what I did glean from that is that they had already had one meeting prior to that to which they went into executive session. So they had two meetings regarding this subject. That's what I would assume it has to be, but there was an executive meeting prior to this. So whoever that is that put that together, that email together and sent that email, that's kind of on point with that four-wheeler. If the city didn't buy the police department a four-wheeler, how did the Haugton Police Department come into possession of a four-wheeler? And if it was a stolen four-wheeler that was recovered, is the public to assume from this point forward that if the Halton Police Department recovers something, that if it was yours, you're probably not going to get it back? It
Well,
almost seems like that's what maybe one should conclude from this.
well, maybe,
You
but
have
let's give the benefit of the doubt. So I'm just doing
Okay.
hypotheticals here. Maybe the chief of police of Houghton attempted to figure out, who the rightful owner of said stolen four wheeler was. I mean, if they knew the four wheeler was stolen, somebody had to report it stolen. And I'm sure there's a database system they can look the, serial number or VIN number or whatever on the four wheeler up. So how do we know for sure that it was stolen? That's would be one of my questions. But maybe
Yeah.
the chief of police tried to reach out to the rightful owner. Maybe he couldn't find him. I don't know. And what is the procedure? Let me ask this. Maybe somebody in the comments knows. I don't know. Maybe you know, Duke. What is the procedure? If police department sees like drug dealer stuff, they ride around in drug dealers' cars and all that all the time. What is the procedure if a police department recovers or receives some stolen goods or recovers some stolen goods, yet they can't locate the owner? Maybe the owner's passed away. I mean, what's the deal on that?
Well, I think there are processes in place for, look, I can tell you, like for an example, I, I got a Harley. I love it. It's fun. It's awesome. You know what? I bought it at an auction. It was a stolen motorcycle. It was a big old stolen thing, and the police had raided a storage bin where all these motorcycles were, and they were selling parts off of them, right?
Right.
Well, after they determined that the original owner couldn't take possession of the stolen motorcycle, they ordered the motorcycles to be placed on auction and sold. And that's where I
Right.
bought it. I bought it on an auction. So I don't I don't know all of the little specifics of how those processes are supposed to go, but I find it hard to believe that police departments. I'll bet you in Bossier City, if you go downtown to the complex and you go out there in the back gate, hell, there's not going to be four wheelers sitting around everywhere out there in the parking lot that they've just seized, or stuff that they got that they thought was stolen or whatever, and there's no paperwork on it. Or no, I'm finding it
Ah,
hard to believe on this.
yeah. So KTBS put out a short article, and so KTBS says possible mishandling of town property by the Houghton Police Department prompted a closed door session of the Houghton Town Council Wednesday morning. Now, I guess if the chief of police is paid by the town, then he's an employee technically of the town, so they could go into executive session
Well,
for that.
hold up, Dano.
All
Let's
right.
make a distinction here, because if you remember right, I think we have talked about Halton a little bit before on Bossier Watch, and we got to go back in time about an election. The chief of police is elected in Halton.
Right.
He's not appointed council and the mayor. Now,
But
as I
where does his
appreciate
budget
it,
come from?
well, I think his budget comes from the mayor and the council, but he is elected and he administers his office and runs it, but his budget is approved by them. So I don't think they tell him how to run his office. I think they just basically approve or not approve requests for money and all that. And so as I say that, I would be uh, I would be remiss if I didn't say that incidentally, on the heels of this, as I appreciate it, there was a request for pay raises for the police chief and maybe the other policemen. I don't completely know the details. That was denied by their council or their
Well,
alderman and the mayor's office.
but I'm approaching this from a completely different angle. There's a very
Okay.
limited subset, or there are very limited circumstances that public bodies can go into executive session for.
That's
Very
right.
limited. So they would have to say that he was either they were getting threatened with a lawsuit. Well, maybe the original owner's mad and gonna sue him. I don't know. But if so, why hasn't the original owner gone in front of the city council and said, hey, my ATV got stolen. It's over there behind the police department, and I would like it back, please. Or they would have to be under a personnel situation to go into executive session. Well, if he's paid by the city or the budget goes through the city, is he technically a employee of the city? I mean, how does that work? I'm just
Well,
positing the
I,
question.
I think that's one of those form of government questions and deals that you're talking about there. I think that's exactly what it is. But obviously the city would have liability for the actions of whether they're
Yes.
elected or not, even if it was the mayor or the alderman who did one of these things. I mean, the city would still ultimately have some
Well,
liability.
okay, but let me get back to the meeting here. So when they went into executive session, if it's about a potential lawsuit, they have to put the case number on the executive session agenda item. How did they
Well,
do that?
Well, lawsuits and like you said just a minute ago, employee personnel action stuff, and
Right.
I would think that this would definitely fall within that realm because,
Is he
as
an
it was
employee
pointed out,
though?
well, I mean, the city's responsible for his actions, but
Right.
here's the thing: there's a state police investigation. That's what's
Allegedly.
reported is the state police are investigating, but
Uh,
we got something else to say about that. Or
all right.
there
So let me
there
let me
allegedly
finish.
was a state police investigation.
All right, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Let me finish this article, and then that will segue right into that thought. And I see the comments about the drug running and the kids and all that, but I'm not putting those long comments up here right now. But I do see it. So everybody go to the comments if you want to read that. All right. Mayor Hunter Timms said he could not provide details about what is alleged. He released a statement saying the police chief notified town leaders about violations of abandoned property within the police department. Tim said he self reported the incident to the Louisiana Legislative Auditor's Office and Bossier District Attorney. Louisiana State Police are also investigating. KTBS called and emailed Police Chief Todd Gibson, but did not get an immediate response. All right. So there is, according to KTBS, this was, published not too long ago. According to KTBS, the state popo is looking into this.
Well, look, I don't know Mayor Hunter Timms real well. I mean, I knew him, met him at that debate we did with the
Right.
mayor, little
Right.
mayor's thing,
Yeah.
and he's a sharp cookie,
Mm-hmm.
military guy. I didn't get the impression that he's the type of guy that he's going to partake in any shady.
Right.
I just no, full stop. I didn't get that about him at all. So, in fact, I'll say Boy Scout is what
Yeah.
is the impression that I got from the guy.
Right.
So the fact that I'm reading here in their report that how did you say it? Where did you
He
read it at? You
self-reported the incident to the legislative auditor's office and to Schuyler's office.
Okay. I mean, look, as the mayor, I would think that if you've got a police chief or you got somebody that's doing some uh, potentially something or whatever, I mean, look, any elected official, if you
Right.
come across some shady crap, you've got an obligation to do something about it. And if you know about it and you don't do anything, then guess what? That makes you complicit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got an obligation to say something.
It sounds like Hunter Timms is doing the right thing, administratively and all that so far. I'm just interested to see, the state police are investigating the parking lot and the email scandal, blah, blah, blah. Now they're investigating a stolen ATV.
Well, all right. Well, so what happened to the state police investigation of a former police chief in Bossier City?
Hmm.
What what
Good
happened to
question,
the
Dano.
state police on a couple of other investigations over the past in Bossier?
Right.
And now here we are with a four-wheeler that may or may not there may be some kind of suspect something there, and the state police are investigating. But are they investigating? Well, actually, you know what, Rex? No, they're not investigating.
What?
Ask me how
What?
I know. Ask me how I know that.
Did you go to work for the state police and you've got an inside line to them?
Well, I guess I can't say for
Okay.
100% certainty, but what I can say is sources say that there is no investigation anymore. That
Wait, what?
they were there is no remember like malfeasance in Bossier? No, no,
Yeah, but
no,
this
no
is something.
bueno, no good.
Honestly, look, I agree it was malfeasance, but that's a little bit abstract or subjective potentially. This is a physical four wheeler. It's an easy thing. Run the serial number on it, and if it comes back stolen, was it sitting behind the police chief's deal? And did he, as it is alleged, did he trade it off to a mechanic? Go get sworn statements.
Hey,
How do you make
hey,
that
hey,
disappear?
riddle me this. Do you remember a circumstance in Bossier where these words were heard in circles about there's no appetite to pursue prosecution on this, or there's no appetite to investigate this, or there's no appetite to move forward with this? Do you remember
Yes,
hearing
yes,
terminology and words like that in Bossier City? Well,
absolutely.
allegedly, those are the same words and terms in regard to this. I
It's a
hear,
stolen four wheeler,
well, I
allegedly.
just, I hear that there's no appetite to prosecute or investigate or seek any of this. And so, therefore, by way of Baton Rouge, the state police have been called off of the chase here.
How did they? All right, look again, and I know some of my questions are rhetorical, but once they report stolen property to the state police, how do the state police like unhear that?
Well, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, they answer to the number one law enforcement officer of the state of Louisiana, and that well, we've talked about it before. I mean, apparently, she doesn't believe that she has the authority to go into parishes unless the district attorney gives her his blessing to do such.
Look, again, I'm keep going back to this point. I can see some of that on the political shenanigans that we believe are illegal and can prove most of it, just through public meeting video. I can see a little abstraction there, but it's literally, I mean, this is like a stolen car, if it was a damn horse, somebody had stolen a horse, you better believe they would be all over it.
Well, yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
just don't understand how the state police can unhear this or not do anything about it. Now, look, according to the KTBS article, it's abandoned property. Maybe it was. Maybe somebody moved out of a house. Maybe it was a drug dealer moved out of the house and they left the four wheeler there. Maybe the four wheeler stolen. But at any rate, it apparently is stolen, according to multiple sources. I, I don't get this.
well, okay. So here's the problem. This is the problem for everybody on this question and this issue. So, does a four wheeler? We don't know. It could be a junky four wheeler. It could be a part of a four wheeler. We don't know. I mean, it may be only worth it may only be worth $50. It may not even be worth that. It may be junk.
Maybe so.
But it's obviously not junk because apparently an ATV shop had it and was selling it or was traded to it. It had something of value. But the problem is there is a expectation of public officials. If you wear a badge, there's an expectation. You have a higher expectation of a public official to do right and to do the right things. And but I got to tell you, in so many cases, we're not seeing that higher level of expectation. Malfeasance and Bossier. I mean, if you get 3 judges on an appeals court to say that, actions rise to the level of malfeasance, and then your justice system, the one responsible for looking into and or prosecuting it, says, no appetite. And then you find public officials in questionable, obviously this is a questionable
Yeah.
circumstance. I would love to hear all the details of this to know for sure, but there's questions being thrown around about this, but yet there's no appetite. So is this the thing where you just need to trust? You just need to trust and don't ask no questions.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
What do y'all think in the comments? Should we just trust and no, nobody know? I mean, if I own that four-wheeler, I would damn sure want to know. If it was my property, I would want to know.
Yeah. Anybody in the comments have a picture of the alleged stolen four-wheeler? Send us a picture of it. You can use Proton Mail. Go make your free Proton Mail account. Don't put any identifying information and send us a picture of this. No AI, because we'll be able to tell if it's AI. I don't know. Anyway, it's just, to me, it's bad enough if the allegations are true, but it's even worse if what has been reported to you and to us is also true, maybe worse, that, oh, well, we're just going to ignore this legally. So
Well,
the message is the cops can steal, do as we say, not as we do. The cops can steal. I'm not saying all cops. The Haugton police could allegedly steal things and get by with it, but not us plain folk out here, us common folk.
let me go one step further, and I'm saying what was conveyed to me, and multiple elected officials saw to it or wanted to see that this didn't go no further, that this was over with.
Kind of like, what was that deal that happened? Running a vehicle that belongs to the Bossier DA's office off a bridge. Kind of like that.
Well, I mean, I don't. If you recall right on that situation, they sent it to the DA over in Caddo Parish to quote unquote do the investigation.
All right, and it cost $50.
But why was somebody that wasn't affiliated with the DA's office driving that vehicle in the first place?
Ding, 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 ding. All right. But we digress. It's not like any shenanigans go on over here in Bossier. Hey, I'd like to, while we're getting ready to change topics, I would like to remind everybody that we posted an article. We've talked about this many times before. We won't drag it on tonight, but we posted an article. Let me see who had actually published it. It wasn't the Shreveport Bossier Advocate. It was. Well, who was it? Anyway, give me a second here. The Center Square. I'm sorry. The Center Square posted an article about the difference in the, the title of their article is basically 70% of Shreveport's accused killers had prior arrests. And so, the logical question is, what is the difference in that side of the river and this side of the river? I don't want to debate that tonight, but y'all go check that post out. It's a couple of posts back on February the 17th. There have already been quite a few, like 50 comments on it. Let us know what you think about that. And let us know what you think in the comments now or whatever on this whole four-wheeler and ATV thing. Just blows my mind.
I mean, if you got stolen stuff and you want to get it processed, send it through Haugton.
Yeah. Wash it through Haugton. It's like laundering money. Wash it through Haugton.
Yeah, Haugton, y'all like, yeah,
Okay.
allegedly.
Allegedly. All right, so let's get to the Bossier City stuff. This meeting, I hadn't watched, again, just a little bit of it, but it went on for quite a while. Are we going to be here for like to midnight?
Well, I don't know. There was some really good stuff in here on this Bossier City meeting. So you had the Bossier Arts Council. We touched on that just a touch the last meeting, and we showed when they came wanting a little bit of money. They hadn't been doing their reporting to Bossier City. Hammond's teed off on them. Well,
Right.
he teed off on them again today, but the little Bossier Arts Council has them a whole lot more problems now. And
Yes.
historically, to give folks a little context, as I appreciate it, the Bossier Arts Council historically was a city-run uh, organization, and then at some point it changed over to a uh, nonprofit, and the city just kicked in money and gave them a place to do their thing. And that's where we are today. And as it would turn out, the legislative auditors somehow or another has gotten involved, and they hadn't been filing their taxes on time or whatever. And there's some really good stuff in here. We're just gonna have to pick it starting point and roll with it.
All right. So, first of all, yeah, it was around October, I think the 21st or the 25th of 2025. So just a couple of months ago, like you said, that was the city council meeting where this guy got up there and said, "Hey, look, if we don't file our reports, hey, it's on me. I can't, you know, speak for things that have happened in the past, but blah, blah, blah." And basically, he was kind of taking the ball and running with it. And that was my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, or Mr. Lauer, y'all in the comments. That was for the reports that the Bossier City Council gets from the Bossier Arts Council that they had their dander up about. Well, now this has come out about the legislative auditor reports. And the problem that the city council has presented, well, number one, they weren't reporting to the city council as expected. And now they're not reporting to the legislative auditor, which is not a good thing either, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, this cat here, I mean, he's been run over by a bus before, because you know what? He just walks up there and just says, "Hey, it's my fault. Run over me again," and it doesn't even phase him. He can take it. I got a hat tip to him. I ain't never seen anybody say it's my fault. It's
I mean,
me.
yeah, I mean, what else? I guess the buck stops with him right now, but it's my understanding that the Arts Council, again, y'all folks in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't keep up with the Arts Council that much. But correct me if I'm wrong, they still don't have an executive director. So there's nobody steering the ship. The ship's out of control.
Well, I don't know about all their structure or what have you, but all I know is that this cat here and one other cat apparently are the only two couple of guys that seem to know what's going on, and uh, they blame the previous people a lot. A lot of the problems are other people's problems. I mean, at the same time, he takes responsibility. He says, "Oh, it's all, no matter what, it's my fault." But oh, by the way, it was somebody else's fault. That wasn't because of
Mm.
me. And I hate that we don't have these timestamps right, because I could go right to that.
Well, if you're pretty
Um,
close, then tell me. I mean, I'm going to start back here at 3014, which I'm maybe a few seconds off. And this is where they read about I think Phyllis reads about the agreement. So do you want to just start there?
yeah, let's start there, and
Okay.
we'll
Yeah,
go
we'll
from
wing
there.
it. Yeah, we'll wing it. Here we go.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
Motion carries.
All right. New business?
Introduce an ordinance terminating the joint cooperative endeavor agreement with the Bossier Arts Council and repealing certain existing ordinances allowing use of the premises by the Bossier Arts Council. First reading.
Motion by Councilman Hammond, second by Councilman Cliff Smith. And we are going to open this up to public comment.
I'm going to pause it right there. So I know the audio is a little choppy. That's on the city council's video. So not, don't don't think that our feed is messing up. That's actually their audio feed. All right. So that's where they just basically are trying to cut the rug out from under the Arts Council, correct?
Yeah, that's the meat and potatoes of the ordinance, or the thing that they put forward. And then you're going to have the Bossier Arts Council guy. He comes up to the mic and he starts speaking. What? I didn't see that part. What's Ruttenbuck doing? Giving him some messages? Hey, don't talk about Shed Road.
Yeah.
just
don't
just
talk
don't
about
even go.
railroad crossings. Yeah.
Don't even go there.
Yeah.
And if
All
you
right.
do, and if you do, blame somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's
good
hilarious.
advice.
All right, so I'm going to hit play. Just tell me when to stop, or we'll just let it roll, or whatever. Here we go.
Council folks, Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I know last time we were here for a similar type of issue. We were not doing our quarterly reports correctly, and we rectified that issue, and then discovered that we had...
Mr. Hicks, real quick. If you have a sign, we don't allow signs in the chamber, so just please, you can hold your sign, just don't hold it up in the air to block the cameras and the view from everybody else. That's all we ask.
And I need name and address for the record.
Oh, and yes,
Oh,
your name and address for the record.
Oh, my name is Nathan Hicks. I live at 411 Dunmoreland Street, Port, Louisiana. But as I said, we were here last time asking for forgiveness and leeway for the exact same kind of problem. And that I fully understand. We were not aware of this problem with the legislative auditor until around October, and we began in earnest trying to solve that problem in October. When we discovered that we were on this 3-year list, we weren't able to have time because of the Carnival holiday in South Louisiana to make contact with the legislative auditor. All I would ask the council to do is to potentially table this until the next meeting so that I may have an opportunity to make contact with the legislative auditor and remove us from that list as we are attempting to become compliant. I will say this for further conversation. I have not had any interaction with any council person or anyone else involved in this matter that has been anything other than completely complimentary and supportive. I'm just simply asking for a little bit of time. I understand your problem. The legislative auditor has tagged this. This causes problems for the city finance. We understand that. I'm simply asking for the opportunity to alleviate that problem. If I cannot do that in the time that you grant me, then obviously you would need to do what you need to do, and we understand that. There's a lot of folks here in support. I think you can see that. I don't know if it would be against protocol to ask them to raise their hands instead of the signs. Would that be out of line, council?
That's fine.
Just raise your hand if you're here for that. And with that, council, I would ask just for a 2-week moratorium if you so see fit, but I do want you to understand I'm not here thinking that we didn't do anything wrong. We got ourselves into this position. But I do firmly believe that we can get us out and back on the path that we were prior to this event.
So let me pause it right there. And I agree with you. Hey, he's just flagging the bus right over the top of him. What is the enforcement mechanism? Does anybody know that the legislative auditor's office has? I mean, if they just don't fill out the form or do the forms, what's the legislative auditor's office going to do?
Well, I don't understand. He just learned about it. He said he just learned about it in October. This was February the 17th, I think.
Yeah, but he mentioned there was some long holiday that apparently extended several months. I don't know.
Give us 2 more weeks to get with the legislative auditor's office. Hell, I would have already, if I learned about it in October, I'd have been burning the phone up with the legislative auditor's office.
What's that guy's name that's he does all the accounting for everything governmental?
Morehart. Hold up. It's a funny thing that you say that, because guess who the Bossier Arts Council's CPA firm is?
Oh, let me guess. It's Morehart.
Yeah, I have that marked. I don't know if we can get there, but the 129 mark.
We will get there.
Yeah, we'll make that revelation here in a minute. You're jumping the cat here a little bit.
No, that's jumping the shark from the Happy Days time. Jumping.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Jumping the shark.
All right.
So go to where your cursor is. 102:21.
All right, 102.20. All right, yeah, bear with me just a second, folks, because I've actually got that one marked too. Okay, I may be a
there
little
was
long. Yeah,
there was public comment, and pretty much it was just people supporting the Bossier Arts Council and how important it was. And there was one person being critical of the councilman for even questioning anything. I mean, how dare a public official question where tax dollars are spent? I mean, how dare the council or elected officials do that? I mean,
you're
can you
right.
believe?
Yeah,
It should just be a blank check, baby.
just keep writing us a check, and we'll keep spending it.
Four-wheelers for everybody. I mean, come on.
Yeah, hey, maybe y'all should go help out the Haugton Police Department and decorate all the stolen four-wheelers that they have. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here we go.
Here for. I'll start it off with that. You remember back during budget season, October, we were talking quarterly reports, everything like that. Still haven't seen a quarterly report yet.
Submit one in January.
No. Who'd you submit it to?
Well, so I can cut through this.
Okay. So Hammonds is asking him about the report from October.
Yeah. So as it would turn out in this debate and what they're talking about, they ended up. He said they sent it in January, and they sent it to the finance lady there with the city. But as Hammond points out, it was due December 31st. They didn't send it until the middle of January, and they didn't send it to the CAO as they were previously required to send it to. And their excuse on that was, well, you didn't have the CAO. You were in between on the CAOs. Well, then they were like, Hammonds and them were like, well, that's only happened in the last couple of weeks. We had a CAO December 31st of that time.
Oh. Yeah, so apparently they're artists. They don't like timelines.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Timelines ain't working for them. So I would say jump a little further forward. The good 111.53. I don't know if you can get up there.
I can get up there. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, it's a dual deal here. All right, here we go.
Oh yeah.
I do have a couple of questions for you, Mr. Hicks. I've served on a few boards for nonprofits, and generally the board's role is kind of oversight. I've seen the dialogue on social media. I've seen the dialogue in the press. I've seen the dialogue that's been sent to me in email of everybody is blaming the past director, and she very well could have been a problem. Mm-hmm. But how did the board for 3 years not catch the problem? That's what I can't wrap my head around.
Councilman Smith, I don't have a great answer for that because I don't have a good answer for that. And when I first got here, one of the first things that we said about doing was, did I get too close? Oh, maybe
Technical difficulty.
Maybe I should just stop talking. And so we set about beginning to remedy those defects as immediately as possible. And then we had the change. And then now we have finally gotten to a position where we have a foothold and a clear path to execute that. A clear potential timeline through a CPA firm that's certified in this kind of work.
Here we go.
Before this life, I was an attorney. I understand your predicament. And I want this relationship to be good both.
Whoa. Put on the brakes there for just a second, Skip.
You heard that, huh?
Did he just say in a former life he was an attorney? I knew he was too good of a wordsmith just to be an art guy. And he was trying to use nice little adjectives and superlatives and all that. Apparently somebody's calling me.
You had me looking. I was like, is that me?
No, I guess he got mad at us. He's calling us, wants to come on the show. No, it wasn't. It was somebody else.
No, you're bucking to get a four-wheeler. They got a hot deal.
I guess so. Did he? He just said he was a former attorney.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Let that
I
sink
wonder
in
if he
for a
likes.
minute, folks.
I wonder if he likes Hondas or Kawasaki's. I don't know.
Yeah,
No, he's. I can tell he's a Yamaha guy. He's a big bear.
Yamaha.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. Go ahead, keep going.
All right, here we go.
in public and on paper so that we're not back here. I want to come and tell you guys, or have the executive director come and tell you guys every month what's going on in the plaza, not why we're here because we haven't done what we need to do.
Was the board aware of the failures of the previous director?
Not in full until after her resignation.
How? Like,
Because
does
some
the
things were-
executive director not come to the board meetings and present like, hey, this is what's going on? Does the board not question the executive director to say, hey, are we in good standing with the IRS? Are we in good standing with the state of Louisiana? I mean, do we not ask these questions at board meetings?
No, absolutely. And at that point, after we got some new board members, it became clear there was some malfeasance. There were some purposeful misrepresentations. Then after we got into that investigation.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good accusation there. They're throwing whoever and maybe she deserves it, but they're throwing the former director straight up under the bus. He dragged her down there with him.
He threw that damn word that nobody wants to hear, malfeasance, out there.
Yeah, but we all know what's going to happen to malfeasance up here or anywhere around Bossier. Nobody's going to do anything about it. So she's safe.
Well, yeah, that don't mean crap. The AG don't investigate malfeasance.
Oh,
that don't happen.
So y'all don't have anything to worry about. That's interesting. All right, here we go.
Investigation, that person resigned, and then we were fully able to see the dire nature of what we did. I can show you emails if you.
But did you catch what he just said? He's lawyer smithing there. We were fully able to see. We were fully able to see. And he used a similar phrase earlier. In other words, yeah, they knew this was all out of whack. They just weren't doing anything about it. We were fully able to see. Did y'all catch that? That's that lawyer speak. That way he can always cover his rear end. All right, here we go.
Like Councilman, right after we left that meeting in October, we got on this and we got on this IRS problem. And then our treasurer had to leave because of his employment. And so then we had to start anew, and we found a new treasurer as well as a new bookkeeper. And we're taking the steps necessary to remedy this problem long term.
But they're using more heart. Travis, that's his name.
Yeah, I mean,
hold on. I'm going to jump the shark to 129. Y'all heard all that crap about the treasurer this and blah, blah, blah that and treasurer this and blah, blah, blah that.
What's the timestamp we're at right now?
We're at 114:42.
Okay, we need to run that to 116. So
okay, all right. Well, here we go. All right, I won't jump the shark. No Fonzie tonight. Here we go.
I guess how is it? So in social media, somebody took a shot at Miss
Pope.
No, not Miss Pope. The director before Miss Pope. Someone took a shot at Miss Jones, and she quickly got in the comment section and said, "Oh no, I left the Bossier Arts Council with every document, every how-to. I set them up for success. They have everything." So if she left all of that and left a how-to on how to run the Bossier Arts Council, how does the board not know everything that needs to be done? How did Ms. Pope not know, or did Ms. Pope just choose not to do it? I mean,
if you want me to be honest, then I'll be honest with the council.
I think now's a great time to be honest.
I think Ms. Pope just didn't do it. To be honest, I think she just didn't do it. And as long as she could, she concealed the fact that she had not done it.
Okay.
I think that for most of us who've not run
but he
nonprofit
just lied
boards before,
again. He's using his lawyerese as a buffer deal, but he just lied again because he said they didn't fully know. But he just said at those meetings they became aware of it. You got to make up your mind there, buddy.
Well, he said she concealed the fact. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot here.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Here we go.
In fact, I called in another member of my associates who had done this, and that's when we truly understood how deep
See,
the
he
hole
did it
that we
again.
were in was.
That's when they truly understood. Words matter, and I'm telling you, especially with lawyers. He is covering his ass big time.
I'm trying to.
I don't think that we adequately understood the timelines and what happens when you hit that third year of noncompliance. That's a triggering year, and that's what causes problems. And I did not realize, because when they were referred to as the 23, 24, and 25, or 22, 23, and 24 audits, and that's actually incorrect. It's a year back. You're reporting backwards. Once we discovered that, I knew that we were in a bad spot, and we have been doing everything that we can to dig out of it. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that we can do that.
So does the Bossier Arts Council have like an operations manual? Like at my
how-to for
company,
dummies.
if me and my entire staff were to leave, a new staff could come in, pick up a book, and they would know everything that has to be done on a daily basis.
Well, 116.
Weekly basis, monthly
Yeah, we're there.
basis, licenses
We're
that have to be
117.
applied for, tax.
I
Okay,
can
you can
already
stop.
envision my next meme. It's coming up, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to get
Well,
them
I
an
mean-
instruction manual for arts councils.
Look, here's the thing. I mean, when you're made the executive director of a nonprofit and an organization, one of the first things that you're going to do, regardless of whether there was somebody before you or not or whatever, is you're going to look in the rearview mirror a little bit. You're going to look at the organization as a whole. You're going to analyze it. You're going to see whether there's any shortcomings. You're going to see whether everything is in compliance. You're going to start checking all of those boxes and making sure whether things are right or not. I mean, because the truth of the matter is that if things weren't done right, your actual existence or appointment as an executive director, it might not even be legit. It may be not even legit. And so if this guy's sitting here saying, I didn't learn about any of this stuff, or I didn't learn about it until after a point, I mean, that says to me that you didn't look in the rearview mirror. And if you're an educated guy, I think he might have been joking about being a lawyer in a former life. That may have been a joke. But if he didn't stop and take account and look in the rearview mirror, he's got no business being in charge of nothing.
Yeah. Well, is he the executive director?
I don't know. I don't honestly know what exactly his role
Yeah,
is, but what I do know is he's the front, he's the face, he's this guy.
He's the front man. He's up there taking the tire tracks. Thump, 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 thump,
He's
as
running
the bus
things.
runs over him.
Yeah, he's making the decision. So it doesn't matter what his title is to
Right.
me. I mean, he's the responsible party.
All right. So shall we jump ahead to more, Hart?
Yep. I know
Okay.
you're dying to get there.
Oh, yes. Look, that guy gave one of the greatest quotes ever with the Cyprus ordeal, and then they cut him off from being able to speak at the Cyprus meetings publicly, except for his prepared statements. Here we go. They did. It's a true story. All right, here we go.
Did you have a cock ready? All right, now you can go.
Okay, so I've got one major question after hearing everything that was said. You kind of hit on malfeasance of office, and that got me. I got my squirrel to running, and I think you know the question I'm about to ask. Is there any missing money?
No, we can account.
How do y'all know that for sure?
We have been going back through and having to do those audits, and so far we have not found a single dime that we can't account for. That our bookkeeper, before she got ill, was very concerned with that and made sure she was meticulous about receipt retrieval and everything else that's being done. Then Ms. Pope was gone when she finally she became too ill to do the job. We have a new bookkeeper who is equally as meticulous, but I do not believe that there was any malfeasance in the form of theft or embezzlement. I do not believe that, Councilman Hammonds.
All right, so several people have commented. Lynette McCauley just put up one. He's not the executive director, still looking for one. They have an interim director, and it's not him. Hicks is on the board. So thanks for that clarification, and everybody that was commenting. I
Sucks to be the board director.
Yeah, it really does. They stepping into a pit of rattlesnakes. All right, so let's go to the 131 mark.
Yeah.
31:40. All right, so right about here. Here we go.
Real quick before I entertain your motion, but I will entertain it. Just give me 2 seconds because I have a thought I want to wrap up real quick. Look, I spoke with the mayor's office before we came in here. From my perspective, I don't want to see arts and culture not be in Bossier City. Like, I want you to stay. I don't know from looking at everything that I see how the BAC in its current iteration is stable. I mean, you've got years of audits and you have IRS issues. You're not eligible currently. If you cannot apply for a single penny of state funding, you cannot apply for a penny of federal funding, and the state legislative auditor is begging us to say you can't apply for any local funding. I looked at your most recent IRS filing. I mean, what's interesting to me is 3 to 4 years ago, in those years, the BAC was applying for grants and bringing in a tremendous amount of revenue. Your last filing in 2024, you brought in $140,000, of which 130 came from us. I don't know what kind of fundraisers y'all were doing, but they didn't work. and
All right, we got to stop there. That was a good one, Mr. Christopher Smith.
I mean, Chris makes an amazing point. They went and got 700 something signatures or something or another on some petition or letter of support for them and riled up support. But yet when it comes to fundraising, they ain't hardly done nothing. And Chris goes on here and he makes the point. He's like, if people support this so much, why have they not? Money? Where's donations and support?
Yeah, I mean,
where's that support at?
Look, personally, I mean, I like art. Don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of customers that are well-known artists around the area and all that. I love art. I'm more into digital art, but whatever. But I love art. I'm not so sure I want my tax dollars being spent on art, though. I mean, these guys need to be out and gals need to be out seriously fundraising. Why are our tax dollars going to art or an arts council?
I agree.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Look, y'all light me up in the comments, but why are our tax dollars being spent to support an arts council aside from the fact that they obviously can't fill out reports, even though they have a bookkeeper and a CPA firm, a well-known CPA firm, Travis Morehart? Why do our tax dollars need to be spent on the arts council? Somebody convince me of that in the comments, please.
Yeah, we'll keep playing the comments right there just a little bit longer.
All right.
And so you have a bunch of people that are passionate about your organization, and I love that, and I respect that. 700, 800 signatures on a petition. Nobody's been able to do that when there's an issue that they're passionate for. But, except the term limits people, they were able to. But, I mean, I don't see how financially you can survive off $130,000 a year and pay a director what they're worth, pay a staff on top of that. I mean, you have a director that was making $44,000 and then 3 other staff members combined making that same amount. That's crazy. And so they're having to work other jobs, I'm sure. And so that's how things like this happen. And trust me, nobody understands not being able to pay employees more like the government, because we don't pay nearly enough. But I'm struggling to see how the BAC is savable in its current iteration. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Let me say this to that, Councilman Smith. In the iteration that you have seen prior to the current situation, you're not incorrect. That entity could not survive. We are evolving into a better entity with better track, better things going on. Ms. Pope wasn't writing grants. Ms. Jones wrote a ton of grants. In fact, her filing for 2021, our take-in was $477,000.
Yeah.
We have to get back to that. We are trying and struggling to get back there. We are bringing in new board members. Of the 5, 2 should really be off the hook, as they've only been to 2 meetings. And so, but we're doing all that. The 3 board members that were there outside of those board members have been board members collectively for 18 months. Each of us started the very first day. This is the second non-for-profit board that I've ever been on. The only other one was Jim and I. I generally don't do boards, but I believe in this organization and what it contributes to this area and what it contributes to my own life and the own enrichment of everyone around. Everyone wants to love the place they live. And when people come in to see me from out of town, from Georgia, California, New York, we come to the East Bank because that's the gym. That's the place where you can come see art. You can come have incredible food. You can hear great concerts. You can see great performances. You can see theater. And I want that to stay around. And
I want to pause too, and I want to address Ferris's question or answer or reply. He said, "Art matters. We are not a society of nuts and bolts, zeros and ones exclusive." I 100% agree. Do our tax dollars need to be going towards that? That's my point. I'm 100% for the arts displays, doing all of that. Do our tax dollars need to be funding it, is my question. How did this end up?
Well, they gave them 2 weeks, but ultimately, I think Chris asked a really good question. He was like, I don't. How are you going to resolve this in 2 weeks? I don't see how you're going to get this resolved. I mean,
well, let me show something interesting here. Hold on just a second. So I'm going to switch over to screenshot mode. Give me a second. Let me get this teed up here, because this is an article from, let's see, the Shreveport Bossier Advocate. They released, I think today, maybe it was yesterday. Anyway, Bossier Arts Council won't get letter demanded by City Council, according to the legislative auditor. So I've got it highlighted right here in yellow and then highlighted again in red. They have 2 weeks to provide some kind of letter from the LLA attesting that they are moving in the direction of complying with state law requiring annual financial reporting from nonprofits that receive state or local government grants. Skip paragraph down here. However, Judy Detweiler, the LLA's Director of Local Government Services, told the Shreveport Bossier City Advocate that letter won't be coming. Quote, "They would have to turn in their reports to us, and we don't issue letters like those." Close quote, she explained. Never done anything like that, so I can't see us doing anything along those lines. She confirmed that the Bossier Arts Council's only recourse with the agency is to have a certified public accountant firm, paging Travis Morehart, put together the outstanding reports and submit them. Y'all can go read that article at the Shreveport Bossier Advocate. They just published that recently.
Well, I guess Travis Morehart, where are you?
Paging Travis. Paging Travis. What was it? What's his wife? Sandra. Yeah, Miss Ruth Pope reminded us in the comments she was on the Charter Commission. Remember?
Yep. Ding, 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 ding. She's the one that had the bell, cutting everybody off. Remember that. Well, hey, I'm tired of talking about Bossier Arts Council. Okay. I
All right.
mean, look, I think the businesses down there in the district down there, they would love to have that space across the street from the old fire station that's open,
Mhm.
having bands and parties and things like that. I think they would love the opportunity to be able to have access to that, but the Bossier Arts Council has it locked up for events that don't really happen, as I appreciate it. But you know, I'm not taking a side here. Just whatever. I could see the Black Crows. Remember how the Black Crows used to come down and they would play that empty lot? Remember where Seven Sisters and the Blind Tiger right there at the
Yeah,
foot of the Texas Creek
absolutely.
Bridge?
Oh yeah.
There was that there was that little empty lot and they would put a
Mhm.
band and a band would play in that little empty lot right there. I
Right.
could envision the same kind of thing happening in the parking lot or in that little area right there across the street,
Mhm.
from the
Mhm.
arts council there, but they can't do anything like that because council has it locked up for events that they allegedly don't have, as I appreciate it.
Hmm. Well, I don't know. We'll see. They've got what is it? A 2-week reprieve? And I guess they have to have a second reading anyway at the city council, I think. Right?
Yep. So, hey, look, while it seems like the Bossier Arts Council was the big issue and the hot and bothered thing at the Bossier Council meeting, there was something else that was at the end of the meeting, and it's
Ex-
called the Bloom House.
Do they make blooming onions there? What's the deal?
Well, I think they harvest onions in the backyard. They get them prepped to go to Outback and
Mhm.
make.
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking crap. But no, I don't know why they call it the Bloom House. I got no clue why they call it the Bloom House. But uh, I'm going to butcher this. So,
Okay.
look, I know that our viewers, y'all are high achievers, and somebody's going to take offense to the way I describe this. But I'm just going to use as best I can under the circumstances to describe it. The Bloom House. So, I guess when you've got uh, parents fighting over custody and things like that, and they need a place. Sometimes when you got people fighting over custody over kids and things, and they need a place to meet to where they would have supervision and things like that.
Mhm.
This Bloom House thing is a place where that could take place at.
Okay.
And so the proposal here, as I appreciate it, is to put it within Old Green Acres Place in a subdivision. And the timestamps that I put on there, 158,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's the calling of the ordinance here or the
Right.
notice of intent or whatever. And then they have the person, he gives a pretty good description, probably better than what I do. And maybe we should just play it there.
Okay. Well, I'll start right there. It's at the 158 and 46-second mark. Here we go.
Through 12 agenda items in about a fraction of the time it made us go through item 1. So, public hearings.
Public hearing concerning the application of Sarah Little requesting a conditional use approval to allow the establishment of the Bloom House, and also to consider the approval of an ordinance approving conditional use approval for community service use for a supervised family visitation center, the Bloom House, located at 2519 Waverly Drive, Bossier City, Louisiana. And it would be a first and final reading, and it's unfavorable by MPC.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So this is a public hearing, so we're going to open the public hearing, and looks like we are going to start with Mr. Lytle. So, how are you,
Adam
sir?
Lytle, good. Happy Mardi Gras, guys. It's been exciting. I may start to attend these to watch the excitement. I didn't realize that happened up here. 212 Macy Lane, if I need to give my address. So I appreciate y'all's time this afternoon. I'd like to begin by reducing this matter to its true dimensions. This is not a request to establish a residential program within a neighborhood. No one is going to live at this property. There will be no overnight stays. There will be no unsupervised visits. It is a scheduled and supervised use, occurring only by appointment during daytime and early evening hours. I actually have 2 pens. I'm going to put one down. So The families who would come here are parents near the conclusion of reunification, individuals who have complied with court requirements and are preparing to bring their children home. The purpose is straightforward: to provide a stable, neutral setting for supervised visits so reunification, when approved by the court, may occur safely. My wife and I are licensed foster parents, and we have adopted our two smallest children from foster care. My wife has also served as a CASA volunteer. Through that experience, we have worked directly with the court and DCFS and understand the structure and supervision required for these type of visits. This proposal is based on practical experience with how these reunifications are actually carried out. The MPC did not deny this proposal because it was dangerous or disruptive. The denial arose from a classification question: whether a limited supervised use may exist within a residential setting. Therefore, the question before you is not broad but narrow. Can a low-volume supervised activity operate compatibly within a neighborhood when clear limits and enforceable conditions are in place? We have already committed to operating by appointment, typically one family at a time. We are willing to operate under conditions that you guys establish. We would accept adding additional privacy fencing. We would accept reasonable hour limitations. We would even accept a 1-year review period. If the use does not operate as described, you guys would retain the authority to revisit it. In other words, you're not being asked to surrender control. You're being asked to exercise control. There is currently no facility in this parish serving this particular need, though similar programs function quietly in many communities. This proposal does not introduce a new activity. It organizes and supervises something that is already occurring throughout our community in offices, in homes, and in public places, such as McDonald's parking lots, but in a more orderly and accountable manner. I understand the concerns of neighbors. Any change near one's home invites uncertainty. But zoning decisions are not based upon speculation and about who may come. They're based upon measurable impact: traffic, noise, hours, and enforceable limits. Judged on those terms, the use that we're asking for is modest and constrained. I respect the NPC and the difficulty of the task that they had. Your task, however, I feel is different. You're being asked to weigh not the classification alone, but the compatibility under conditions that you control. You are not being asked to take a risk. A cautious approval, bounded by conditions and subject to review, is not a leap. It is a measured exercise of oversight. So we appreciate y'all's consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Lytle.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
So
A lot of comments. I see a lot of comments going on. And
yeah, get me kind of up to speed. This guy and I guess his wife are counselors or whatever he said. They own an existing rental house. They're using that rental house to facilitate court ordered supervised visits or something like that. And there's a potential zoning problem. Am I getting close to correct?
yeah, I mean, but somebody in the comments was saying that they didn't perceive that they even needed to come here or do anything with this. And as I appreciate it, I think this is correct, and I know I'll get corrected in the comments. I don't even think that places like this even have to have a license or are licensed or anything like that. So I would say that it was being proactive to come here in the first place. Again, I hadn't been on top of this issue, but you're just going to have to hear the other side of the story. It sounded, what he was proposing, it sounded good, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it did, and I don't know. I mean, are they? Why is the city even involved in this? Is it a commercial
Well,
operation, or are he and his wife making money off of this, other than it's a rental house?
I don't know. I would assume that somebody's making money off of it, but
Is there a ton of traffic in and out of there? Is this like another chiropractor's office that some of our city councilmen think there'd be too much traffic right there? Even though, well, I won't get into that. I mean, what's the deal? I don't understand what the problem is. It's he and his wife apparently own the house. It's not like city-owned property. What the hell's the deal?
Okay, well, I think if you'll go to the 211 mark,
Okay.
probably you'll hear. Now I don't remember 158 mark. Where are we at right now?
We're at the 203 mark right now. We just
Okay, yeah,
played through to 150.
go to 211, and I think Ruth Pope Johnston makes the argument or the case for against this, and she gives some pretty good reasons why.
Okay, here we go.
Anybody who wants to speak?
Anyone?
I'm Ruth Pope Johnston. I live in Old Green Acres neighborhood. I'm here to oppose Loom House in our neighborhood. I'll consolidate issues to 3, but before I do, I want to commend the Lytles, and I've enjoyed meeting them, for their outstanding work in foster care. On the record, for the record, I admire them and their work. The only problem we have here is location. I'm here to inject some real talk into the conversation. Not everything works, not everything's a happy ending. I know this as a retired social worker. Facts. This is a supervised visitation program for persons who are ordered by a judge to be supervised by specially trained professionals while they visit their children. The other way you get here to Bloom House is if your children have been removed from your care for things like drugs, drug abuse, sexual, physical, abandonment, neglect, to name a few, when they see their kids. These professional supervised cases are different from low-risk monitored cases that you would see where people are meeting at McDonald's. These are supervised, professionally supervised visits. Fact. Persons can get better. They do get better. We have to believe in that. But they can also relapse. They can become better parents. But 2 things here are facts that won't change. The fact, they will always have a history of bad choices and bad behaviors with children. On this case, their own children or perhaps stepchildren. There will always be the risk of relapse looming during visitation. Fact, the program proposed in a residential setting among our homes is an off-model program that carries risk. And therein lies the problem. There are 2 places that this program could exist in Old Green Acres. In the middle of our residential homes, which is what the applicants want, but not what the residents want. And in commercially zoned business centers where there are 4, where we have 4 commercially zoned areas, and they all have openings. In the residential setting, parents required to be supervised in visits will have to physically drive or walk into the middle of our neighborhood to get to get the Bloom home. If they were to use one of the commercially zoned areas, they're easy in, easy out access. That's also good for emergencies, but also they have no need to drive into the interior of our neighborhood. These are exterior to Old Green Acres. Fact, Old Green Acres is a mandated walk-to-school community, meaning we don't have buses. Our kids walk to school and back from school every day. So at any time, there can be an exposure to persons who have a history of bad decisions and bad behavior with children. It is our job as parents to protect our children. We teach our children stranger danger. We tell them to avoid situations like this. And you're
Hello? I can see your lips moving, but I don't hear your mouth.
All right, so I got to pause for a second. I got to take Miss Ruth to task. Love you to death, Miss Ruth, but you literally in one breath just said that Old Green Acres is a mandatory walk to school neighborhood. And then the next breath, you want to protect your children, stranger danger. The kids are walking to school, Miss Ruth, down public streets. Think ice cream van type scenario. I still don't see what the elevated danger is. I mean, are we talking about hardened criminals that are meeting with their kids at this rental house?
Well, I think
it's more government encroachment into something that is not really a commercial enterprise. I'm trying to see why everybody's dander's up. I mean, Ferris had a good comment. Everybody wants garbage dumps, prisons, animal shelters, and a McDonald's until it's in your neighborhood. I'm not seeing this.
And I don't think it's so much about business in the neighborhood so much as I think that, you're talking about having a system where you have to have supervised visitation of kids or a relationship with families within a residential community. And the reason you have to why is it that you have to have something supervised? Would the court order something to be supervised? They order something to be supervised because there is a risk there. There is the potential for a problem, and it's a recognized problem by the system. So why would you put that in a neighborhood, risking other people? I mean, so then the question becomes, and I can argue both sides of this deal. The question becomes is, well, where should you do this? I saw in the
At the
comments
sanitized courthouse?
Some people said the courthouse, a police station,
to add stress to a situation anyway, and you're having to go into an official public building versus a more, let's say, laid back setting that may reduce stress and thus risk. See, I can argue both sides too.
Well, that's right. Well, the idea of having it, that's the justification for having it in a residential setting is that it does reduce stress.
Yeah. I mean, I can see both sides. I understand. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
But at what expense? You're at the expense of potentially, putting an already recognized problematic
rapist,
situation. Well, no, you're knowingly taking. Could be all of those. You're knowingly taking a potential recognized risky situation, recognized by the government, whatever role that is, and you're placing it into a residential area. I mean,
it happened in a residential area to begin with, right?
Well, I agree with that.
If the kid was taken by CPS, that started in a residential area, and I'm sure it was a stressful situation when CPS showed up with the cops and yanked the kids from the house. Come on.
Probably so. So what are we going to do? We're going to send it right back to the same place?
Look, this just doesn't always happen in low rent, low scale neighborhoods. There are plenty of kids that get yanked from houses in upscale neighborhoods too. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Oh,
are these hardened criminals that are on the Jeffrey Epstein list that we're talking about here?
Well, I don't know, but it sounds like y'all want to have them having meetings with their family members in residential subdivisions. I mean,
beats the McDonald's parking lot. Or beats the courthouse.
Well, I'm not saying the McDonald's parking lot, but I'm saying you're going to take a known bad situation, stick it into a subdivision. I can see why somebody would have a problem with that, and I recognize the fact that is the idea is to bring it down a level. But if it was next door to you. If it was next door to your house, you'd probably have an issue with it too.
I wouldn't care. The people across the street, the guy shot himself twice across the street from my house. They have domestic things and they still live there. So Cassie says they made the stress they will have to answer to their children for that. True. My babies don't need to be exposed on purpose to those people. Then don't let them walk anywhere, Cassie, because they're exposed to the very people that are in these situations. Is my point. I get both sides of this. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I'm leaning towards, I don't, if there was a ton of traffic in there and y'all were worried about the traffic in Old Green Acres, a la the chiropractor's house or whatever that garbage was, that's one thing. If these were hardened criminals or drug dealers that were trying to get their kids back, okay, maybe an argument could be made to that. But usually the drug dealers are your neighbors that you don't even know about anyway. Just saying.
I mean, look, I can argue both sides of this issue.
Right.
I could take a position on both sides and argue the justifications on both sides of it.
And
but
I get the fact that people don't want the stuff in their neighborhood too. So I do get that fact. I just tend to be more towards the middle on this. I'm less government intervention and government being able to tell those people what they want to be able to do with their home. With broad interpretation to that. Should they be able to run a meth factory? No, meth is illegal. Should they be able to invite people into that home and let them sit down and talk? Well, hell yeah.
Well, so is beating kids and beating your wife. That's
Are they going to beat
the
kids and the wife at that house while they're on a supervised mandated visit? I don't think so. It could possibly happen, but somebody could walk through my door right now and shoot me for talking about the Haugton police chief. It could happen.
So what if you set this up in the subdivision, you don't have metal detectors, and one of the other parts came up and they said, hey, I'm just going to take care of all of this right here, right now. No more problems in the world. And they whip out a gun, but yet you don't have metal detectors or law enforcement or whatever prerequisites.
Well, all right. Let me just counter that. So what if they decide they want to do that? They walk to the car in the courthouse parking lot, get their gun out, walk up to the wife and kid and shoot them dead right there in front of the courthouse. How are you going to stop that? Where does it end?
Well, at least it's not going to be next door to a possibly a family to a family with kids in a subdivision that are going to have to live with it forever there or whatever. I mean, look, there's not a right answer, but
I know. I'm offering this up for argument and debate, folks. I get both sides of this.
Me too. There's a place for this, and anybody in a subdivision where potentially would have this, next to their house, they have a right to object to it.
Wait a minute. Rusty Maddox has got the perfect idea. Use the public library for this. It would be a good use for the police jury's public libraries. And the police jurors, who are illegally voting themselves back in according to Jeff Sadow and the law, well, they could supervise we could have, what's that girl's name, the princess's name? Oh, Juliana. Juliana, she's an officer of the court anyway. She's a lawyer and a police juror. She could supervise the visits.
This is so went off the rails.
It has. All right, folks. Before y'all send me too much hate mail and messages, although blast me away in the comments, I get both sides of this. I'm just giving a little pushback on it. That's all.
I defer to the right of everybody to object or support whatever they want to, and it goes back to activism. If something is proposed to be put in your subdivision, absolutely you should step up to the plate and you should argue one way or the pros and the cons.
And where it stops is where the public tax dollars help build those streets and the stop signs. Where my public tax dollars and yours and everybody else's are helping build the streets and all that and all the infrastructure for those same neighborhoods. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm not focusing. I'm
off on a rabbit trail.
And I'm not even paying attention because I just
dang it.
I'm not biting. This is the deal.
After 290 shows, you'd think, Duke, you could keep just your attention for what have we been here now? Nearly 2 hours.
But yeah, every day we're getting hit with stuff, and I hate to say that I'm getting jaded over time, but I am getting jaded over time. Like the 4-wheeler in Haugton. I'm not surprised that I'm not even shocked the least bit that nothing's going to happen in that situation.
Right. Yeah, it's not
it
the
could
fact
be,
that this allegedly may have happened. It's that nothing's being done. Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I just these all this stuff, all these issues. And I told somebody today. I said, when you finally are red pilled per se, as the saying goes, when you're finally red pilled about exactly how everything goes, in government and politics and all that stuff, and and at some point you come to the conclusion, why the hell do I even do this anyway?
I agree.
If none of it even matters, I mean, what matters is over. It's not in the short term and on the short little individual things. It's how you can move the needle over the long term and over the course of a lot of things. So you can't make decisions and you can't make a judgment on just a one little small thing. You got to do it looking at the whole big picture, and most people miss that point, and they don't have the energy, and that's where we lose people in getting active in society, is that they don't care. They know that they're smart enough and they recognize that it's going to take a commitment over a long period of time, but they just automatically check out right then, and they say, you know what, have at it. I'm not being a part of any of it. I'm just going to enjoy life. And that's the people that I'm jealous of.
Oh,
That's the people I'm
I
jealous
agree
of.
100%. It's like, even while we were out there fishing the last couple of days, I'm getting phone calls and, on tech stuff, and I'm getting phone calls and text messages on political stuff too. And yeah, it's like, we just want to, well, I guess we don't just want to go about and live our lives, or we would not be on show number 290. Actually, more than that when you count Louisiana Watch. I mean,
Well,
we bring this on ourselves, is what I'm saying, Mr. Lowry.
we do. I mean, and here's the thing, I think people like us, we recognize that talking about these things publicly, it gets more people to talk about it, and it may even possibly motivate somebody to take up the mantle of activism and do things on their own and take off and run with it,
Yeah.
and the hope is that we better our community, we better our society for your kids, my kids, and everybody watching the show's kids, for everybody. That's what we want.
Except for Shane
Um,
Cheatham's. You know why?
what? Tell me why.
Because he and who was that? Who was he doing that Two Guys on the Sidewalk podcast with?
Oh
Sutton.
yeah,
Wasn't him and
yeah,
Sutton doing it? And
yeah.
now
That's
they're
right.
not. They started this. They could have taken up the mantle for us. We could have handed the mantle off to them, and they quit. You quitters. So here we are, stuck again, doing another episode of our soapboxes.
Yeah, but you know what? He's getting paid,
Oh yeah,
and we're not.
he's getting paid by all of us. He's had the
But
last laugh.
yeah, he's making money, and
Both
we're
of
not
them.
making any money.
Both of them are getting paid. They're on the dole, on the government dole. Wow. All right. Anything else? See,
Yeah,
you didn't
well,
think I was going to bring up Cheeto tonight, did you?
no, you just said we're stupid. I read right through that. I get it.
I said it in a nice way, didn't I?
And I ain't disagreeing with you.
All right, folks, we appreciate y'all listening to the Stupid Show on another newly done Thursday night. Again, we've pretty much switched, unless we have some special deal or whatever. We're going to try this on Thursday night, so we appreciate all of y'all watching. We were up nearly 100 folks there when we were looking at the, what was that, the Arts Council stuff. Oh, the Haugton stuff is what was the big draw. We were bumping 100 people there for a minute with the Haugton stuff. So anyway, we appreciate everybody watching. We appreciate the comments, even when you're pushing back against something that I say or something that Duke says. And, we appreciate all of the dialogue. All these
Hey,
years.
if y'all see any Hondas coming for sale up in Haugton, y'all let me know.
Yeah.
I'd like Hondas is my thing. So just keep your eyes out. That's all I got.